Okay, sir, let's kick things off. Let me ask you, can you share some insights into your experience working on the fifth and final season of this series? And tell me a little bit about how has your character evolved throughout the series?
What's your name, ma'am?
Dr. Erica Cross.
But I know all about you. You and your brother find missing children.
You won't ever stop me.
Cade is alive. You took my son?
We gotta get that baby back.
You got a problem with me?
A school bus full of second graders has gone missing.
I'm selling them. I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna rip out your heart.
Okay, well, going into it, I didn't know it was the final season until about halfway through. And I think that made it like a sense of urgency, and it made it a little bit more like, you know, like a little bit, you savored it a little bit more, you know what I mean? If someone's like, hey, we're gonna take this meal and we're gonna discontinue the special, and you're like, wait a second, let me order another one. So I think Eric, he kind of like got stuck in his ways, and now I always say like your character has depth to it if somebody can like mimic them or mock them. And there's a couple catchphrases that Eric says and people mock him. So I'm like, you know, he's really solidified his spot and like what he's after, his objective, and like who he is as a character. And even putting some things in that weren't written in there, that it was like an Ericism, so to speak. So like I would put things in. So he just evolved into this, like, you know, I would say a badass who also has a heart.
A badass who also has a heart. Love it. So how do you feel about saying goodbye to Eric in the overall storyline? I mean, are there any memorable moments or challenges you faced during this final season?
No, there weren't any challenges. I mean, we're shooting in Los Angeles where it's sunny and you're getting like free food. I don't know how many challenges are involved in that. But you know what's funny? You say that like saying goodbye to him. I don't even look at it like that because I get comments all the time. They're like, how did I just find out about Double Cross? And I'm like, wait, we've been on since 2019 and people are just finding out now. So it keeps getting like revived. You know what I mean? So yeah, this might be the fifth and final season, but people are still discovering, you know, this hit series on All Black every single day.
Well, speaking of this, I mean, speaking of that, as you just pointed out, Double Cross, and I think we've spoken about this, me, you, and your co-star Ashley in the past, that this series has gained a significant fan base over its seasons.
Oh, so I can't go anywhere without getting recognized.
Right? So how do you think the series has, in your opinion, how do you think the series has resonated with audiences? And what do you believe sets Double Cross apart from other shows with the same genre?
I think the grit, I think it's a really gritty show. It's a real show. People can relate to it because everybody has, you know, children in their life or, you know, different struggles that the characters may go through. People are like, whoa, I went through that, or I have a friend or family member that went through that. Also, I noticed that when kids went missing in real life, you know, it's a sad situation, but people were like tagging me and I'm just like, that's my character. Like, I can't do anything. You better call the police. But so when people like, you know, obviously they can separate it from real life, but when they like think to you for what your character does, I'm like, okay, we're doing something big here on a larger scale in their mind.
So obviously, without giving away any spoilers, what can viewers expect from your character's journey in the final season? Are there any surprises, twists that you can kind of tease us about?
Without getting in trouble, no, because like I'm just so blunt that I'll just be like, and then this happens, and then that happens, and then this happens, and then I get in trouble. But so I would just say they should look out for Eric being Eric, beating people up, fighting for what's right, solving problems, and doing it in the not so pretty way.
This can't be happening.
Oh, but it is.
Y'all really got a problem with it?
The sex trafficked kids. We need all the help that we can get.
You all are the superheroes, not me. He has my son and he's not giving him back. We're running out of time. I gotta hit the streets. I'm gonna find him and my kid.
Coming back with a vengeance. Time to go start your engines.
You're all about that dangerous life.
Damn right I am.
When we meet you guys, when we meet you and Ashley at the top of the season, compared to where you end up, specifically where your character ends up by the time the season ends, will viewers be surprised by Eric's journey and like the kind of final frames we see him in this season?
Yes, I would say they will be surprised. And I would say some doors, how about this? Some doors will be closed that should have been closed last season, but Eric will close them this season.
Very good. So let me ask you, what are you most excited about fans and maybe even newcomers experiencing with the fifth and final season?
I'm excited to see for them to see the whole thing come together. Because like you said, we live in a very, you know, binge watching society where everybody wants to see everything right now. It's kind of like going to the movie theater and they show you half the movie and you're like, where's the rest of it? So you can really go from season 1 on All Black to season 5 and just see everything, because I got people that's like, oh, I'm gonna check it out, and the next thing you know, they're like, I don't watch all the seasons, and I'm like, you really just binge watch this. So I think it's going to be good for them to see, that circle close, you know what I mean? And for them to see the full circle moments, and then for them to remember things like, oh, I remember that happened in season 1, and then, everybody just like I said, stepping into their character and like their character being solidified.
So, you just mentioned moments ago about missing children, and obviously this show has explored themes such as that, and just, themes of trafficking, exploitation, various themes throughout its run.
Things that are real, right?
That are real, exactly. So, in your opinion, what themes or messages does the final season convey, and how do they contribute to the overall impact of the series?
I would say that you can't get away with doing evil, one. And then how does it impact the series as a whole? I would say the bad guys just get what they deserve. That's what I can say without like literally giving you a play-by-play, because that's what I want to do, but I can't, because that's how you get in trouble. So yeah, I would say the bad guys get what's coming to them. Like I said, that circle closes, and yes, it's going to be exciting. And there's a lot of action. There's blood. There's guns. There's all the good stuff in there. There's a lot of moments where you're going to be jumping and sitting on the edge of your seat. So that's going to be fun to look forward to. I like hearing fans reflect. Whether it's like my family members are like, oh, well, you did this and you did that. And, I like when this happened, and like when they get really invested in it, or when they end up like not liking the character, I think that's when, the character really resonated with a side of them that, like I said, they really got under their skin.
So does that mean that you enjoy reading fan reactions online, or reading, following the hashtags related to the series to see what viewers have to say about your character?
Without a doubt. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily watch like my acting get critiqued or anything like that. I don't care for that. Well, the people that are enjoying it, like that's when I'm like, all right, cool. Like when they're invested in it, talking about when they speak about the show, like it's a friend that they know is going through something, where they're like, oh, I can't stand Nurse Brian. Like I wish they would just do away with him, and I'm just like, this is how it really resonates with them. Or when somebody is just sitting there reflecting, because again, we don't pay anybody to be a fan, So when people are like on X or /Twitter, they're talking about like, oh, Double Cross is a great show, and I'm just like, you came up with that alone, you know what I mean? So, and again, for it to be one of the most popular shows on All Black, again, nobody's getting paid to do this. Like as far as like the fans, they're paying to see it. So the fan response is, I think it's a big one.
Very good. So let me ask you, Jeff, were there any favorite moments or scenes from the final season that stood out for you personally?
I just like beating people up, because I'm such a peaceful person that like, I never beat anybody up in real life. So when I get to like do the stunt fighting, and then, we work with a really experienced stunt coordinator, Master Joe Lee, who, he's kind of open to like, if I'm like, hey, what if I did this? And he's like, yeah, like do that and then add this to it. So I think bringing out parts of you that you don't normally get to experience day-to-day life, that's the fun part. Namely beating people up.
Right, and beating people up. As you reflect on your experience with this character, I mean, are there any aspects of his journey that resonate with you, that you could tap into personally, that, some of the decisions that your character has made over the seasons? Did you ever find yourself saying, you know what, if I were in this situation, I'd probably react the same way?
No, I really don't think so, because he's just
so far from you that it's
because like with my acting coach Bernard G, shout out to Bernard G, he makes me like, the first time we sat down to act, I got this big script and I'm scared. It's 2019, it's my first big speaking role, and he's like, all right, put the script down. And I'm like, we got like 3 weeks to learn this. He's like, order a sandwich like Eric Cross. And I'm like, bro, I don't got time for this. But I did. And then I'm just like, oh, so this is a whole different person than me. Like, again, every single aspect of this dude, nothing is me. But because it's like, if somebody, took my kid, like I would have a different reaction than Eric. So it's like, Eric has this, like, you never see him being like soft or being like, you know, like fretting over anything. So he's always like this strong dude who like knows what's going on. So like, yeah, I would say I got to just make up a whole different human.
So does Eric Cross have any standout episodes that you're most
Every
proud
episode
of?
is stand-out.
Every
'Cause it's
episode?
outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not one particular episode that you're like, oh my God, I can't wait for the fans to see this part.
Oh, you see D, all of the above. Yeah.
Oh. Very good, very good. Okay, Jeff, well, as we wind down, let me kind of cap with this. So as you reflect on the entire journey of Double Cross, what aspects of your character in the series as a whole do you believe will leave a lasting impression on both you as an actor and the audience?
I would say me as an actor, because it was my start. I kind of got thrown into the Lions Den, and I had to, you know, from day one, had to act like a lion, even though I didn't have that much experience. I'm not like, I didn't go to acting school or anything like that. And I just sort of picked it up as I went. I'm a natural. And for the audience, like seeing that, you know, a chapter come to a close, it's always bittersweet with any like saga that somebody's a fan of. But when you get to see like these characters really, you know, struggle and then the triumph after the struggle, you know, the rainbow after the rain, and you get to see all this stuff like come full circle, and or you get to really like put yourself in the character's shoes and say, oh, well, Robin this, and you know, Erica this, and Eric this, and then you remember certain things. Oh, this person died, this person got shot, yada yada yada. So when you think about all that and it comes together as this massive story, there's so many aspects of it that, you know, again, people probably relate that to their real life. So I would say, yeah, that just that circle closing is what's gonna capture the audience and leave a lasting memory on them.
Right on. And my last question for you today, sir, Ashley Williams, your co-star, how would you kind of summarize or cap your your filming experience with her and the kind of creative energy she brings on the set? What have you most enjoyed about working with Miss Williams?
Ashley is a professional, and she was way more experienced than I was. So when you work with somebody who's experienced, it almost makes it easy for you. And she always, you know, came to work prepared. Never brought like her, you know, life problems to work, or you know, you never thought anything was bothering the girl. So I would say like it was just it really, you know, we really grew that brother and sister synergy on camera, even off camera. Like, you know, certain times where like, I don't know, we're about to eat lunch and I'm just like, well, you know, did Ashley eat? And like, you know, like you really take on that like sibling type of thing. And yeah, so I would say we grew that sibling chemistry, but also just working with a professional and her just being prepared all the time. It made my job easy. Like there's no mess ups, and like the scenes with her and I, it's like people like, again, I would say when the fans speak, it speaks volumes. When they're talking about, hey, are you guys really related? You know what I mean? Like that speaks, like, if you think we're related, that shows you that we did something on camera. You know what I mean? So I like working with her a lot.
The chemistry was spot on.
Yeah, and that's a bittersweet part of it, with not being able to work with my sister. Like if I have to see her again, it's going to be probably somewhere else in Hollywood. But you know, for this thing, we just had that synergy that just meshed really, really well.
Stay out of my way. You're on some kind of warpath. Drop that gun or I'll blow your head off.
I brought you in this world. I'll take you out.
I'm gonna kill that motherfucker.